What's good, everybody? It's your boy Kirk Ray Smith. Y'all know what it is. Welcome to another episode of the I Am with Kirk Ray Smith podcast, presented by the One Charitable Coalition. Listen, with that coalition, you know what we try to do? We try to bridge the resource gap for small businesses and nonprofits. We connect donors to causes and causes to donors. So if you want to get involved, you need support, or maybe you can support us because we're 100% independent, self-funded organization, as well as our podcast. Please visit the one, spelled out, the one charitable coalition.org. Again, that's the one charitable coalition.org. And again, we work hard to close the resource gap for small nonprofits and small businesses. So with that being said, let's go.
You are now tuned in to I Am with Kirk Ray Smith.
Welcome to the I Am Kirk Ray Smith podcast. Do you ever get tired of setting yourself on fire to keep other people warm? Get out of the people-pleasing business ASAP. The people are more interested in how you are than who you are. I could not be more excited about what's getting ready to happen right now. So let me talk about somebody real quick. I'm talking about this person who's been in the game since 1995. I'm talking about someone that's, has two beautiful daughters, which is his greatest accomplishment. So let me make sure I tell you that. But I'm talking about a journalist. I'm talking about a sportscaster. I'm talking about an actor, a producer, a comedian, a talk show host. I mean, this brother has been at local news stations across the country, as far west as California, all the way into Alabama. I mean, you name it, Nashville, Tennessee. This brother has done it all. He is one of the OGs of ESPN, FS1, and the Black News Channel. And again, I'm talking about a legend. I'm talking about the extraordinary, the unstoppable, untamable, unlimited, my brother. And listen, I told him there's no way I can do him justice, but I'm gonna do my best. But my brother, Mike Hill. Mike Hill, what's good?
Hey, I was looking outside the door and I was like, who's coming in here? So what's he describing?
Hey,
I'm like,
man,
I want to see this interview myself.
Yo, hey, legend, man, bro. Look, man, I'm humbled, man, to have you here, man. I'm humbled. I'm excited, man. I know you're a busy man, and you do a lot for a lot of people, man. And I'm watching you, man, constantly. Your posts, your insight. And again, man, I'm ready to get Mike checked right now. And I'm ready to get Mike checked by Mike Hill. And I said, Mike, we need some of that barbecue chicken. We need some of that insight, some of that raw, man. But you're just an unstoppable dude, overcome a lot. I mean, just an incredible person, man. And I'm just proud to call you my brother. And proud to have you on the show, man. And so what's going on, man? What you on right now, man?
First of all, man, it's my honor to be on the show with you, bro. I mean, I think you're a wonderful human being, man. Just a good brother, a real brother. Somebody that's always down for the cause, always been there to support us, man. Me, Jay Harris, other people at ESPN, with your charitable organizations and what you do for the community, man. So I want to commend you for what you do.
Thank you, man.
But I'm living life, man. Life is good, man. Every day I wake up, regardless of how the day goes, my day has been great because I'm here, I'm alive. And that's the thing I tell everybody, man, is that, you know what, when I wake up in the morning, man, I'm happy, I'm full of joy. Wow. I can have aches and pains just like anybody in their mid-50s or whatever, but God gave me an opportunity, man, to get out of bed and to do what I'm supposed to do his will in my life. So I'm happy, man.
Man,
yeah.
What about, in terms of like there's so many different things going on in the world, in this country in particular. But what do you think when you start talking about, the sanctity, when you start talking about having a healthy society, what do you think the biggest threat or some of the biggest threats are right now? Just having just a society that's functionable, man, that's healthy, man. What's some of the threats you see out there right now?
Division and ignorance. I think those are the two main biggest threats that we have right now is our division of just looking at each other as separate people. I mean, the irony is that we call this country the United States of America. And frankly, Kirk, I've been here for 54 years now, and I've only seen the United States of America united one time. And I was immediately after 9/11. And there's still division because obviously they've had some Muslim Americans in this country that, still got some treatment that they shouldn't have gotten. So we see that division, but I also see the ignorance of a lot of races that are out there, especially, the counterparts we have as far as like white races and whatnot.
Right.
And I'm not saying that everybody that's white is,
Right.
bad or anything like that at all, because I think there are some tremendously, the majority of people in this country are great people. We just have bad people on both sides, man, that just are so ignorant that they don't want to see that even though we have a lot of things that separate us, even though we have a lot of things that make us individuals, we still
Right.
have a lot of things in common. And if we can get to the point where we can allow ourselves to live and let live, I think we'll be in a better position, man. But I think that ignorance, I think that hate, I think that division, I think that's being promoted right now. And that's the issue that we have in this country. So until we can get back to realizing, and not just in our country, but within even our own race sometimes, I think once we get back to that, or once we start doing that, then we can realize that maybe we can start moving forward in this country and in our own culture as well.
Well, I think one of the myths, and I kind of caught some flack for this, and I kind of had this belief, and I don't think it's the most optimistic, but I think it's more realistic and more practical, is that I don't know if you can heal a racist person. I don't know if you can bring any type of healing to anybody that hates you for whatever reason or erroneous reasons. And so I've never really been in that business of trying to change someone's viewpoint, but what I am in the business of changing who I am, how I carry myself, how I react to things. And I think sometimes when we look at people like yourself that have these incredible platforms, worldwide celebrity, we don't think you have these types of struggles, man. We think it's easy for you.
Not at all. I mean, I think a lot of it. Look, the thing is, some of the things that you have, your benefits or whatever of being whatever the so-called. I never look at myself as a celebrity. I just look at myself as a public figure. I think sometimes as a public figure, you stand out obviously because you get a little bit more of the attention. That's good and bad. So we hear it, we feel it, and people think because they may think we feel insulated because we're of a certain pedigree or whatnot that we are immune to that, which we're not, or because we are of a certain pedigree that we shouldn't feel certain things. You know what I mean? Because hey, this is just the life that you chose. You should be able to take it or whatever. But it's not like that at all, man. It's rampant everywhere. Everybody feels it, regardless of who you are, and that's one of the reasons why, as a sportscaster, somebody that's a broadcaster, I've always been pro athlete because I feel like a lot of times when you're an athlete, the fans just look at you as pretty much circus animals in a sense. So they look at you as
Yeah,
creatures from the
right.
zoo. Somebody to look at somebody, but they don't understand that these people have feelings too. These people have families too. These people, regardless of how much money they make, it does not overcome or change the nerves that they have in their body. It doesn't overcome the
Wow.
emotions that they have in their bodies, man.
Right.
So look, we go through it just like everybody else. Athletes go through it just like everybody else. Entertainers go through it just like everybody else. So once we get to that point and understand that, hey, you know what, the words that come out of your mouth can have an effect. Now, after a while, I will say this. You do kind of get a thicker skin, but
Right.
still, words are sting. They sting. They hurt. And what we've had to do, and what I tell people to do, is try to ignore as much as possible. One of the things I've done in one of my mic checks is like, if you don't matter to me, in a sense. Now, I'm not saying that anybody doesn't matter to me, but if you're somebody who is a non-factor in my life,
Non-factor.
meaning that you don't control my money, you don't control my household, you don't control my family, you're not affecting me in any kind of way, I'll allow you to have your opinion. That's your opinion of me.
Right.
Your
Right.
title that you give me, whatever you call me, you tell me I suck, you call me all kind of names or whatever. When I was on
Right.
that reality show, you called me certain words outside my name.
Whatever.
The title that you give me, I don't have to answer to. And I
That's right.
understand that.
That's
So
right.
I'm gonna allow you to have your opinion, but at the end of the day, I'm gonna continue to live my life the way I live. Because if I forgive myself for the things that I've done in my past, and nobody is immune to sin, if I
Yes,
forgive
sir.
myself for what I've done in the past and I move forward and the man above is forgiving me, then why should I
That's
worry
what's
about
up.
what you think of me?
So with that being said, it's my belief that you can do research, you can academic environments, you can learn a lot by way of experience. But the greatest teacher of all time, to me, is unequivocal, is adversity. And so when you start talking about some of the things that you've been through, what was sort of some adversity that you've been through that taught you a lesson that continued to benefit you moving forward?
Man, I've had plenty of adversity. I've had to overcome domestic violence early on in my house. I know a lot of people have done that and gone through that. I've had to overcome my best friend being killed in the drive-by shooting. I've had to overcome hearing things about my stepfather being a hitman and things like that. I've had to overcome, job losses
Right.
throughout my career. Being fired a couple of times.
Amen to that, brother.
One very unfairly. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
things happen, man.
Yeah.
That's life. But
Right.
what I've realized is that I am so thankful for the things that I've gone through in my life, because without those things, without having to overcome those obstacles, it wouldn't have made me as strong of a person as I am today to be able
Facts.
to handle, I feel like, everything that happens in my life. You need adversity. You need to feel
Yes,
some
sir.
kind of resistance in
Lean
order
into
for
it.
you to get stronger. When you go to the gym, there's a resistance. There's like getting into the gym to trying to, condition your body right. You have to go in there and it's weight training or whatnot, and it's always going to be something that's hard for you to even get up in the morning because
Right.
it hurts, when you first do it, right? You got to work your way up to it, but eventually, because you've gone in there and you've dedicated yourself to it, and eventually you overcome it, and you start seeing the changes. Same thing with your mind and emotions. Everything that you go through in life just prepares you for what is to come, in my opinion. So this is the reason why I say I turn my burdens into blessings, because I
Yes, sir.
always
Yes,
learn
sir.
lessons. Bottom line. So I am thankful for my burdens, because I feel like my burdens, the things I've gone through in my life, when I look back in my life, the difficult times that I've gone through in my life have been the most important times, because what that has done is set me up for the successes that I've had and how to handle the
Yes, sir.
successes that come in life.
Man.
Life doesn't change because you get money. Life doesn't change because you get so-called fame. Life doesn't get easier at all. It gets harder, as a matter of fact. But because of what you've gone through, that training, what I call training camp and stuff like that, I'm able to play during game time, man. So once again, burdens to blessings, because I learned the lessons. When I'm in that area, when I'm in that valley or that so-called burden or whatever, what is it that the man above wants me to know about that particular moment that
Wow.
I can carry with me later in the future, that's going to help me become the best person I can possibly be? So I'm just as thankful for the burdens as I am for the blessings that come along with them
Man,
afterwards.
that's incredible. And you can tell what type of father you are, man, looking at how you raise your beautiful daughters, man. And I have 3 sons. I have no daughters. I have 3 adult sons. And so what would you, as a girl dad, as I've seen you post several times, because my greatest fear, to be honest with you, is our young ladies, man. They scare me the most. When I look at what's on social media and what's being popularized, whether it's something about their bodies and all this other stuff, and it's almost like there's no other value beyond that for a lot of our young girls, and unfortunately, a lot of them are buying into it. So if we were to take like a couple minutes and we had this segment of the show, and we were in the gymnasium, and it was about 500 girls ages, I don't know, 7th grade through 12th grade, and you had insight for them, what would you tell them?
Well, I would tell them what I tell my daughters. I always say, 3 words: know your worth. First and foremost, know your worth. I raised my daughters as if they were queens. You know what I mean? I raised them as, my princesses. If I consider myself a king, I have to raise my children as my prince and my princesses, right? And I got daughters, right? So I look at my daughters as my princesses. So I go on daddy-daughter dates with them. I went on a daddy-daughter date with my youngest, who's 23 years old, last week. And on that date, I show them how a man should treat a woman. So if I'm
Yes,
talking
sir.
to a group of young ladies, I understand what's out there in society. I understand what people look at and see what gets attention. And it's not just for women. It's a lot of things. You see things on the internet and how to go viral and all that stuff like that. We live in that reality world. But also teach them, hey, you know what? There's consequences to your actions sometimes when you put certain things out there.
Right.
Look, when they're teenagers, when they're young, when they're in high school, I had issues with my daughters or whatever. You have to try and mold them. It starts at home. They get a lot of influence when they go to school. They get a lot of influence when they're around their other friends or whatever. Especially with social media being what it is, and they start getting a little famous because they're on social media. They look at how many followers they
Right.
got. They look at what sells or whatever. They look at, the little butt shots they do and all that type of stuff
Right.
like
Right.
that.
Right.
But I always emphasize it ain't about your body, but it's about your mind. What
Yes,
is
sir.
up
Yes,
here,
sir.
man? If you're leading with what's down there, then how far is that going to eventually take you?
No,
And
sir.
be attracted to, and what are you going to attract? So if you lead with your mind and have people respecting your mind and what you have upstairs, then everything else will be appreciated downstairs because they'll know that, hey, you're a lady. You're not just somebody that's out here doing wild stuff. And look, I'm not trying to shame or anybody that might be promiscuous and all that type of stuff like that. That ain't my job. I can only look at what I teach my daughters.
That's
And at
right.
the end of the day, they still have to have their own decision making process about what they want to do with their mind, their body, and their soul as well. But all I can do is try and mold them and teach them along with their moms. Hey, this is what you're worth. We raised you to be queens, and if you want to be treated like a queen, you got to act like a queen.
Act like
So that's the bottom line.
Well, I mean, listen, physical appearance, there's an expiration date on that anyway. So
Yeah.
and a lot of this stuff is not going to age well, but I've heard several times that girls, they kind of mature a lot faster than boys, and I'm not going to mention which one of my sons, but they're all adults, but one of my sons, and here's how I know, and I'm sure you never had this issue with any of your daughters, but one of my sons, he didn't know how to address an envelope correctly, so he sent us a letter, and he wrote the directions on the envelope for the post office.
What? No, that is not a true story,
I'm not
bro.
gonna mention his name, but this boy wrote the intersection that the house was at. What's on the corner?
What?
So the post office, it finally made it to us. But yeah, he wrote the directions in case the post office didn't know how to get to our house.
They
But
followed
anyway,
the directions the post office followed. Maybe he's a genius. We don't even know. I'm like,
he was like, it's on the
wow.
corner. It's on the corner of. But anyway, man, that's kind of how it
hilarious.
works, man. But so as we get close to wrapping up the interview, man, I just wanted to, and again, we're gonna come back because I want to give you a chance to talk about a few other things. But like when you think about your career and the journey you've been on, you've been in a lot of different places, a lot of different spaces. You've been around all types of people. And what do you think, like in all your experiences, and again, the different, you've been with the highest level celebrities and normal Joes like me, but what's the most consistent thing that you sort of witnessed being around so many different types of people? What's some of the commonalities that you experience, being in those circles? And now being a comedian, I know I can't wait to get to one of your shows live so I can heckle you. My goal is to heckle you and get put out. That's actually a goal of mine, to be removed by security. But what's some of the things that you've seen common amongst all those groups consistently?
Well, it's funny that you mentioned being heckled because one of the things that's common amongst every group is that there is always an a-hole somewhere. there's always some personality that wants to make it about themselves that you always have to overcome, man. I think, what it is in common, no matter what circle it's in, if it's comedy, if it's in the world of sports and society, man, like everything that I've done, every profession that I've been in, every platform that I've had, it's a microcosm of overall society, man. Like you got to deal with different personalities, man. I just try and be and try and live my life the happiest I possibly can and have my joy and spread the joy that I possibly can to other people, man, and protect my happiness and protect my joy, man. So when it comes to that, it's like the common denominator is that you're going to deal with people in life, man. You just hope that you can be around people who enjoy life just as much as you do. At the end of the day, man, I can't worry about what people are saying and what they do. I can't worry about how they're living their life. I can't worry about the impact that they're trying to have on society if it's negative when I'm trying to be positive, whatever. I want to be insulated. And I'm at a point now that I can pick and choose certain things that I want to do. Obviously, there are opportunities that you can't pass up because it's so great of an opportunity, man. But, I've learned how to navigate those things, man. And I've learned that prayer changes things. Like,
Yes,
look, God ain't done with me. I know I ain't never claimed to have wings on or whatever, not an angel, but at the same time, I know where my strength comes from. So
That's
when
right,
it comes to being around those people, man, that are, less than nice or whatever, I feel like because God has been so good to me, man, and has always protected me that, no matter what man does, God is going to always look out for me. So that's one of the things that's in common, man. I know how to deal with it now, and I don't worry about it, to be quite honest with you. I don't.
And I appreciate that, Mike, man. And so what we're going to do, man, we're going to take a quick break, but I want Mike to come back and share a little bit more about what he's doing and how we can support his work and help get the word out. Because, again, man, you're talking about a legend. You're talking about a multiple, at least two-time Emmy-winning sportscaster. And I'll be remiss if I don't mention that, but we're dealing with a real legend right here, and it's truly a blessing to be in his presence. So Mike, hang on with us for a little bit longer, man, and we can share a little bit more, then we'll be ready to go.
No, sir. No doubt, man.